For number one, I'd say a memorable part of the play for me was when Esther is visiting Mr. Marks and he tries to sell her some Japanese silk, and you can tell that there's an attraction between the two. And she goes to grasp Mr. Mark's hand. He pulls back because um, he has somebody back in Romania, and even though he's never met her, but Jewish law it forbids him of touching any other woman. I was kind of ignorant, I guess, of the fact that if you there's some religions and traditions back then, even today maybe, that if you have an attraction to somebody, but say you're set up for a marriage or whatnot, you're not even allowed to have a small physicality such as touching somebody's hand that you might feel affectionate for. For number two, some themes I'd say would be the theme of gender when Esther wants to open her own beauty parlor, but she can't because she feels that she feels that George needs to make something of himself before she can. I'd say also tradition is the theme, and that tradition can kind of dictate your life. An example would be George pulling away from uh, Esther's hand because of Jewish laws. A third one would be loyalty, and that loyalty is only a title in this play. Just everything that goes on with the struggle of Mrs. Van Buren being lonely and what goes on with her husband and just all the letters from George. I'd say that this play shows the African American struggle with racism and prejudice, just everyday their everyday struggle that they had to go through back in this time period. Um, I'd also say it reinforces black stereotypes and experiences. Um, just again, with it reinforces it just by showing these struggles from their point of view. Um, not, I would say for number four that not only African Americans but all racial stereotypes are exist today. Any race. I'd say this is kind of because of the media and the class system, how everybody has to be separated, whether you're, for instance, whether you're black, you're white, you're Republican, a Democrat. I'd also say the time period has a lot to do with it because early 1900s is when this racial tension was kind of at its peak. I'd say people overcome this by or coming together to create one voice to make their um, opinion heard, such as what Martin Luther King did with his peace riots and his protests. For questions, I would ask the first one: do you think that if this story took place in 2016, there would be this much racial tension? And two, in what ways do traditions and social views of the characters in this play affect the decisions that they make?